It's your girl Yolanda with Hidden Voices. I'm back with another episode. Today's episode, I want to talk to you about the journey of becoming. Yeah, the journey of becoming who God created you and called you to be. You know, in our journey in life, we go through and experience many things. During the times of difficulty, hardships, we don't understand why we are going through or suffering heartache and pain. Nah, we don't understand. Like me and you, we question God and ask why. Sometimes we blame ourselves, we question ourselves and say things like, what did I do to deserve this? I know I've asked myself that question many times. What did I do to deserve this? Man, I wish my life was like so-and-so's and I lived in the same house and I drove the same car. Yeah. So many of you have questioned yourself and said the same thing. I know. But in that moment, we don't realize that we all have our own story to tell. I have my own story. And that house that I'm looking in that looks so good, they have a story to tell as well. But it looks good on the outside, but we don't know what's going on the inside. The journey of becoming. Oh, yeah, the journey of becoming. We have all of these hurdles and we have obstacles to face along the way that are hard and disheartening at times. We all have dreams from a child of who we want to be when we grow up, of who we want to be when we grow up. Not knowing the path that we must take. You don't know the path that God is taking you to become who He's called you to be. That we must get on the potter's wheel. And that's in Jeremiah 18:1. Yeah, it's in Jeremiah 18:1. I want you to check that out. It's in your Bible. Jeremiah 18:1, the word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord said, arise. He said, and go down to the potter's house. And there I will cause you to hear my words. See, God will cause us to hear His words if we allow Him to put us on the potter's wheel. So He said, arise. And I'm telling you to arise and go down to the potter's house. Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. God will cause us to hear His words. Yes, God will cause us to hear His word. But we have to ask the Lord to train our ears to hear what He is saying. So my point here is that the Lord was shaping us on the potter's wheel. The Lord has been shaping me on the potter's wheel, and He's still shaping me on the potter's wheel to become who He's called me to be. So I just want you to tell you, He's shaping you on the potter's wheel to become who He's called you to be. And I could use Joseph as an example. Joseph was hated by his brothers because they felt that his father loved him more. They felt that his father loved him. They felt that the father favored him more. So then, Joseph just wanted to please his brothers. So he has this dream and he runs and tells his brothers. But when he tells his brothers this dream, they became so angry and jealous. And so because they came so angry and jealous, even after he told them the second time and told his father, they decided, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill this dreamer. Here comes this dreamer. We're going to kill him. But then one of the brothers said, no, we're not going to kill him. Just put him in the pit. So even after they put him in the pit, they did not realize that they started the process of his becoming. His becoming the prime minister of Egypt, second in command. But they didn't know that, because right now I'm sick of this dreamer. I can't stand. They had that much hatred in their heart. And we know that process was painful. Can you imagine your own brother or sister putting you in a pit to leave you to die? Oh, but then after that, they saw some traders from some Midianite traders coming along. And so they decided, we'll just sell him. And they sold him for 20 shekels of silver. And these Midianites, they took Joseph, they bought him, and then they sold him to an officer by the name of Potiphar. And he became Potiphar's slave. He became a slave of his home, taking care of his home, but everything that Joseph touched in his home, God blessed it because he had favor on his life. Wow. He was 17 years old, an innocent young 17-year-old boy, sold by his own bloodline. Check that out. His own bloodline. Hatred does not have to be outside of the family. It can sit right next to you. Do you hear me? Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Hatred doesn't have to be outside the family. It can sit right next to you. It can sleep with you. Yeah. Your enemy could be sleeping right next to you in your bed. Eat with you every day. Yes. Sit at the dinner table with you. Shake hands with you. Oh, yeah. Shake hands with you. I shook your hand today. And I think, oh, they love me. They're right there for me. They have my back. And even tell you, I love you. Yeah. Hatred sticks close. Did you hear what I said? Hatred sticks close. So along the way of becoming, there will be betrayal. I want you to know that I've been betrayed. I want you to know you've been betrayed and will be betrayed again. Betrayal, yes, it's a part of becoming. So becoming, know that you will be betrayed. But let's get back to the story. Joseph is now falsely accused by Potiphar's wife of rape. Does that sound familiar? Falsely accused. That sounds familiar, right? Because I've been falsely accused, and I'm sure you have too. Lied on, yeah. Mistreated, yeah. All that. All while being innocent and kind to people. Giving them anything. Giving them the shirt off your back. Always willing to help. Yeah. You and me. Yeah, these kind people. Yes, betrayal is always around the corner. So, yeah, it's a part of becoming. It's a part of becoming. It's a part of becoming who God ordained you to be. Do you not know it's a part of becoming? I just want to keep saying that because when we hear these prophetic words and we hear a prophet or evangelist or a pastor or a leader prophesy and tell us what God has called us to be, what? Do you mean that I have to go through this before I become who God called me to be? Do you mean I have to go through this journey of becoming? Yeah, you got to go through this journey of becoming. Guess what else happens to Joseph? He's thrown into prison after he's falsely accused by Potiphar's wife. Did I say that he had favor? Because I said that earlier, right? I did. I said that earlier. I said when he was in Potiphar's house, Potiphar knew he was blessed. Potiphar knew he had favor on his life because the Lord was with him. In a time of pain and suffering, the favor of God was on his life. The Lord was with Joseph all the way. He granted him favor with every circumstance, everything he touched. Favor with his slave owner, Potiphar, yeah. Hey, favor with Potiphar, the slave owner. And then when he went to prison, the guards gave him favor and let him oversee the other prisoners. Favor during his pain and suffering. So I want to tell you out there today, those that are listening to this podcast, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, do you not know that during your pain and suffering that God will still grant you favor? Because it's the journey to becoming on the potter's wheel, shaping you to become who God ordained you to be. I just want you to know that today. Because some of us feel like God has left us, but no, he hasn't left you. Because I want you to know that it is a journey to becoming. And we know the rest of the story. So you know the rest of the story. He becomes second in command, prime minister. He saves Egypt and his family. Yeah. These same brothers that decided, I'm going to kill you. He saved them. Just as he saw in a dream that you will bow down to me. Just as he saw in a dream. The dream that they thought they killed. They thought they killed the dream. But no, they didn't kill the dream. So I want you to know out there in Radio Land, on this podcast, who's ever listening to me, I want you to hear these. That God will be with you along the way. We will be mistreated. We will be rejected. We will be misunderstood. We're going to be looked down on. We're going to be looked down on, and we're going to be saying, what did I do? We're going to be lied on. What? I don't even know what you're talking about. We're going to be falsely accused. Then we're going to be an outcast to people that we love. But it's the process of becoming. 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 I want to keep saying it's the process of becoming who God has called and ordained you to be. Let's talk about David. David was a shepherd's boy out in the field tending to his father's sheep. But he had other brothers that were always closer to the father, always in the house with the father, eating dinner before he ate dinner. He's out here all alone killing birds, He's, killing them, keeping them away from the sheep. He's fighting. So even then, God is training him to be a warrior. God is training you to be a warrior in your becoming. In your being outcast, in your being separated, in your being set apart. See, he set you apart to train you. Yeah. Let's look at the Samuel 1. 16:11, David is anointed to become king of Israel once Saul has betrayed God. God said that Saul will no longer be king. He's going to raise up a new king. So he tells Samuel, I need you to go anoint one of Jesse's sons. And he anoints David, the boy that's out there by himself. Out there, the one ain't nobody looking at. Out there, the one that everybody think, oh, he ain't worthy. He dirty. He scroungy. Oh, ain't nobody going to choose him. Now, Samuel even thought he's going to choose a good looking one. So God said, no. I ain't choosing them. I'm choosing this one that I've been training, the one that everybody look over, the one that don't nobody see. See, some of y'all, they don't see you. He anointed him to be king, but he was not king immediately. We know the story. Saul hates him. He defeats the Goliath. And then Saul moves him in the house with him. He becomes the commander of war. He becomes the commander over the men of war. It even says, even prior to that Saul would get distressed in his spirit, and his men said, we know a young man. He's a good looking man. You know, he's smart. He's intelligent. That he plays the harp very well. And so David began to play the harp for Saul. And then in the midst of that, Saul loved him as his son. Did you hear what I said? He loved him as his son. Then he defeats Goliath when everybody else was afraid of the giant. This little small kid that God has given so much wisdom and courage, he comes along and he defeats Goliath. Yeah. And then guess what? The popularity comes from the women. And they said Saul kills his 1,000 and David kills his 10,000. Oh, here comes the jealousy. Oh, here comes the jealousy. Here comes the jealousy. Here comes the enemy. Now he's ready to destroy him. He's ready to destroy David. And David said, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? He's talking to Jonathan, which is his best friend, which is Saul's son. What did I do? And Jonathan said, nothing. My father doesn't hate you. David said, yes, he's trying to kill me. What did I do? Now his mentor decides to kill him because of the spirit of jealousy. He seeks David's life. He seeks his life. The man he once loved is now his number one enemy in his heart. You know what? We can be close to people. It can be our best friend, and all of a sudden they become our number one enemy. All of a sudden they decide to destroy us in the world. To anybody that knows us, David was innocent and began to run. But he's wondering, like, what did I do? And some of you are asking the same question. We were best friends for years. We've been hanging tight. We've been kicking it. Now all of a sudden you hate me. Why do you hate me? He's now rejected, mistreated, lied on, an outcast. He's an outcast to everything he once knew and everything he once was a part of. Yeah, the journey of becoming, causing unhealthy disconnections. Yes, God will then begin to disconnect you, yes, to be cut off from those that are unhealthy for you. A new love for God that you have never experienced, because now you're going to have nobody but God, nobody but him to cry out to. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. God, you've never experienced, will create you to become who God ordained you to be. We cannot stay in the same place, hang with the same friends or family, or go to the same places. No, we can't. When we begin to be shaped and molded to become who God called us to be, I came by to encourage you to hang in there. Stay on the potter's wheel. Yeah, stay on the potter's wheel. Don't get off because it's painful. Isaiah 43:19 says, for I am about to do something new. See, I've already begun. So if you're experiencing any of these things and you're a child of God and you know God called you and you know that God has called you to be mighty in the kingdom of God, yes, it has already begun. Do you not see it? He asked the question, do you not see it? I will make a pathway in the wilderness. This is what the Father's saying. He's going to make a pathway in the wilderness, through the wilderness. As we walk through the wilderness, God is going to make a pathway. He will create rivers in the dry wasteland. So where it's dry, where we don't think we have water, we don't think we're going to survive, God said, I will create rivers. He said, I will rain on you. I will rain on you. I will rain on you. God said, I will rain on you in the dry wasteland. In the dry wasteland, you would not die of thirst, but you will be full. You will be full. You will be full. God will make sure that you are full and refreshed in him. And refreshed in him. It's the journey to becoming. The journey to becoming can be very intense. It can be intense And even confusing, y'all. It can be so confusing, like I'm confused. What happened here? When you don't have total faith in God. So let me drop that in there. It's confusion to you when you don't have total faith in God. But when you have total faith in God, God, you said, not my will, but your will, God, not my way, but your way. Because guess what? It's the journey to becoming. When people turn their backs on you, when you lose your job, things don't always look good. They don't always look good. But in that moment, you ask God what it means. Ask him to lead, guide, and direct your path. Don't lose your focus when you're going through. Don't lose your focus when things get shaked up. Don't lose your focus when it seems like it's a hurricane. Don't lose your focus when it seems like it's a tsunami in the spirit realm. I'm talking about spirit. I ain't talking about a storm. I'm talking about the storms of life. Yeah. Don't lose your way. Stay focused. Stay focused. And let the Lord direct your path while listening to his instructions. Keep your face down in prayer and in his word. Stay in this secret place. Yeah. I can imagine that both David and Joseph kept their mind stayed on Jesus, just as we must do as well. I haven't understood a lot of things in my life in the moment I was in it. While I was in it, I didn't understand it. I did not understand, or I just didn't understand. Can I just say, I didn't understand. I can't tell you I haven't shed tears. I can't tell you I haven't cried. I can't tell you why I'm like, I don't want to go through this. But then I kept persevering. I kept pushing forward. I kept pressing towards the mark because it's the journey of becoming. But I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't feel good. 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 It was a journey to becoming. So my encouragement to you, all of you out there, take the Lord along with you. Take the Lord along with you on your journey to becoming. Don't fight the process as we sometimes do, but get in a quiet place, as I said earlier, and sit and listen, just as Samuel did. In 1 Samuel 3:10, the Lord began to call Samuel, but he didn't know his voice. He only knew Eli's voice, the high priest, because that's who had been training him. That's who he had been sitting up under. Yeah. We've been sitting up under leadership until God gets us ready. We've been sitting in some places, just sitting still until God gets us ready. But when God gets ready to use you, he's going to start calling you. And God needs you to be able to hear his voice. So ask God to train your ears to hear. Because Samuel said, once Eli realized and said, when you go back this time, sit still. And when the Lord calls, said, speak, your servant is listening. So God is saying, now speak. God is speaking and he wants you to listen. God is speaking and he wants you to listen. God is speaking and he wants you to hear. So ask God, train my ears to hear, Lord, when you are speaking. It's the journey to becoming. He was a prophet when none of his words fell to the ground because he allowed the Lord to speak. When the Lord began to speak, he heard clearly what the Lord was speaking to him. None of his words fell to the ground. It was in a quiet place. It was in a quiet place because Eli said, go and sit down. He was in a quiet place, no distractions. And when he speaks, say, your servant is listening.